Professor Milton Gardner spent a happy and unforgettable childhood in Fujian, China, when he was with his missionary parents in the early 20th century. He uttered the words Kuiang, Kuiang before he passed away in California in 1986. His wife Elizabeth Gardner traveled to China, hoping to find the place but to no avail. She would later track it down with the help of Xi Jinping, who was then a local official in Fujian. In 1992, Elizabeth honored her late husband's wish and visited Kuiang. The name turned out to be the local name for Guling, but in the Chinese dialect spoken in Fujian. Her visit restored a connection between the summer resort and the families who once lived there. 30 years later, these families gathered in New England, here in the United States, to celebrate and share their special bonds and memories in the name of Kuiang, which many of their ancestors considered home. Hugs and kisses and Zoom calls during the pandemic. Members of the Kuiang families and friends reunited. Once they started sharing memories, they couldn't stop. The one-hour event turned into two. In the old days, they discovered more connections by sharing their stories and going through old postmarked documents, a painstaking process. A team from East China University of Science and Technology created a genealogy archive for the Kuiang families. They used advanced technologies to locate former homes.
We use GPS positioning, a handheld GPS device to record the coordinates of each point and match the coordinates with the points on the map in the system. We also geo-correct the old maps and compare them with today's satellite maps. Most houses, or at least the ruins, can be found this way.
Just recently, they found where the ancestors of Alan McInnes used to live.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I cried. It's important to have roots.
McInnes organized this year's reunion. Along with her husband, Peter McInnes, they collected and digitized large numbers of photos and letters that tell the story that is now more than 100 years old.
I thought these stories are worth telling. There's stories of very deep friendship. There's stories about people who cared about China and wanted to stay there 20, 30, 40 years to do what they could to help with medicine, maybe education, things like that, because they loved the Chinese people.
Chinese President Xi Jinping once said that the friendship between peoples is an important foundation on which to build bilateral ties between nations. American attitudes toward China may vary in different administrations, but as this year's Kuiang reunion suggests, friendship can transcend politics and time.
In our work, we have had extensive contact with American people. We are strongly impressed by the deep roots of the cause of the friendship. By participating in this event, I do think that the China-US friendship is embodied in the historical legacy, in our common memory, and in the stories of the ordinary people.
Twice a year, the Kuiang families visit the grave of the Dr. Edward Bliss in Newburyport, a small city around 60 kilometers north of Boston. Dr. Bliss provided general care for local farmers and children during his 40 years in China. There are countless stories like this among the Kuiang families, whose spirit of peace, friendship, and love set an example of what China-US relations could be.
We help them find their childhood homes, and they're also helping us find our lost memories, which have been brought back to China through the Root Seeking Project.
We are not like the old days. You had the foreigners and then the Chinese. We are one group. We work as one. And this is an improvement from years past. We are the Kuiang family.
Wang Xiaozhou, CGTN, Boston, Massachusetts.
Now to a marketing campaign with a cheesy twist. Velveeta has launched its new Veltini, a cheese-infused